Hello everyone, I am back finally to do a project pan check-in. If you haven't been following my channel, I'm Kat, by the way, nice to meet you. But if you have been following my channel, you'll know that I've taken a month off these check-ins. So this is actually going to be 2 months worth of progress for my project pan products. As a refresher, I'm doing sort of like a full face project pan. So there's pretty much every category sort of incorporated into this, and when I use something up, I introduce something new. Now I am sort of easing back into filming. I took a little bit of time off only because life's pretty hectic. I went to Perth for work, and then ever since I've been back, my sort of weekend day that I like to take to do filming has been taken up with birthdays and events, and we've been to a funeral, and it's like 4 birthdays and a funeral in my household. So it's been very busy and pretty hectic. So I'm actually filming this at the moment when my baby is sleeping. So I'm currently sitting at my dinner table, which is why there's a different background, but that explains what's happening. So what I'm going to do is look for my coffee here. Good, excellent, tick. And I'm going to start with the products that I've used up in the past 2 months. There have been a few. The first one is my foundation. So this is my Flower Beauty Light Illusion foundation. Now I really like the color match of this. It is like perfect. But the problem is that I just feel like it doesn't last on my skin very well. Some days it does, some days it doesn't. I haven't quite figured out why, like what the cause of that is. But all I know is in the last few months of using this, the days that I've sort of not enjoyed it have outweighed the days I have enjoyed it. So I could theoretically scrape down the bottom and like really try to get the last few bits out, but I can't be bothered. It's not pumping anymore, and that is good enough for me. I'm not going to investigate it any further. I am actually introducing a foundation that I also don't really like, but this is a bit of a sneak peek. So I went to Perth for work. I ended up catching up with Hayley. We filmed a few makeup breakup videos, so they're going to be staggered out throughout the next few months. But one of them is actually on this Fenty Beauty foundation stick. So this is the Ease Drop Blur and Smooth Tint Stick. And the reason why I'm panning this is because A, it's broken because we were sort of doing tests on it. So it's broken at the base there. It's still usable. I tried to melt it together, but it wasn't sort of really sticking together. But essentially, it is very convenient to use. I keep forgetting how convenient a stick foundation is. Like, you can do your base in like 20 seconds, which is great for most of my life. But also it's a good color match for me. So I am wearing it today with some concealer, but I don't like how this wears. I don't really like how it looks on the skin. I feel like, I don't know if it's quite silicone-y. I suppose the blurring it would be, but I feel like it actually sits in the pores and looks uneven, if that makes sense. So on me, it just doesn't do really good things. I find that most of the legwork is done with really trying to sort of apply it strategically, but then also going in with concealer to sort of cover up any patches. So this is definitely a Monday to Friday foundation for me, where I'm just like, I'm happy to throw my makeup on in 5 minutes. And as long as the color match is okay and it looks fine on a video call, like, then it ticks the boxes. So this I'm going to dedicate using, but I don't actually like it. I did use up my concealer. So this is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. I used to really like this concealer. I've gone through probably a dozen tubes easily. I even have another one on the go and one in a handbag. So that's how much I used to buy them. Like, when I'd see them on sale, I'd buy them in I'd buy like 2 at a time because I'd like having backups of it. Now, for some reason, I think since I had kids and my skin has sort of changed, my skin doesn't like it as much and it doesn't wear as well as it used to. So for me, I'm trying to clear out my stash. This one is completely done. Again, there's a tiny bit at the end. I did take the stopper out of this so I could scrape down the sides more easily, but there is a little bit of product in the end that I don't really care to reach for. I am debating whether to incorporate another one of these, because I know obviously I can use them up in a few months. But one that I have actually been enjoying using a lot more is my Mecca Max. So this is the Life Proof Cream Concealer. Now this is in the shade 200. It is a little bit too light for me, but that's fine. We're going into the cooler weather, so it's autumn at the moment. We're going into winter fairly soon. So this is fine, but it's also not too light that it looks bad. It just is light enough that it's sort of a bit more brightening. I personally don't like that because I find that the brighter you go, the more you can sort of see shadows and sort of, I don't know, it doesn't really suit me. But this one is fine. I am wearing it today, so you can see that it does incorporate well enough. And then also one thing I like about it is it's super full coverage. Now that is not always great. I don't always want super full coverage, but the coverage of this is pretty insane, which means you only need a tiny dot and it blends really well. I'm going to look for a brush so I can show you. I might show it compared to this Maybelline one. So you can see what sort of concealer I usually go for in terms of tone and how much lighter this is. But if I was to just blend them, that one has, look, it's hard to tell, but you'll see that this one, the coverage goes really far. So this one is already entirely blended out. This one still keeps going. So the good thing about that is I think paired with that foundation stick that's more of a tint, I think it works really well. And I think this is going to last a long time, to be fair. What I might do is just put my excess stash of Maybelline Fit Me concealers in my handbag for like touch up. So I do quite like this when I'm going out, and if I find that I've got like, I don't know, marks from my sunglasses or something, and I want to touch that up, a lot of the time I don't care, but if I wanted to touch that up, this is a good product to have in my handbag. And I've got like 4 handbags on the go, so I may as well just throw it in a handbag and eventually it'll be done. But I think I'm going to focus on this because I'm just liking it a lot more, and I think it's sort of more appropriate for this weather in terms of tone. The next thing I used up is my finishing spray. So this is the Smashbox Fire Photo Finish Primer Water. So primer water, you can use it sort of to prep your skin, or you can use it to sort of settle your makeup. So it's one of those more hydrating finishing sprays, not a setting spray. I quite like these if I've over powdered or I feel like my makeup looks a little bit cakey. It sort of helps it sort of blend in with the skin. Anyway, it was up to here when I last introduced it, and it is completely done. I knew it would be. In that video, I do talk about how I've got 4 of these and I want to work through them. So what I've been using since then is the Earth one. So this one, again, started quite high. It is now down quite low. It's actually down to here. I don't know if you can see. If I was probably a little bit more dedicated, so there, I would probably have used this up by now. But again, I'm just going to keep rotating through them. The next ones I have are air and water. So those ones, I'll be working through those. The last thing I technically used up, and there's one other thing that's empty, but I'll explain it, is my little Ciate. This is the Watermelon Burst Hydrating Lip Oil. It was fine. It was nice to have in my pocket. I would apply it a few times a day. It was quite nice. So that is done. What I'm going to replace that with, I could actually theoretically use a couple of different things. So like a lip balm that I can use at night, a lip oil that I can use when I am just wanting to hydrate my lips, and then a tinted product. Like I can actually use quite a few lip products, but one thing that's been kicking around for a while, and I do want to use this up, is by Lanolips. This is the tinted lip balm in Nectar. This is quite pinky peachy toned on me, which I do quite like, but it's not something I can wear to bed. It's not something that I can use it with like no makeup, it's fine, but it is obvious on the lips, like the tint is quite obvious. But I've had this for a little while. I still haven't found that nude one. I had a little mini in this project pan that I temporarily took out because I couldn't find it. I still have not located it, but you can see how much that actually does give a tint. So I'm going to incorporate this just because I've had it around for a while and I think it's time to sort of use it up. But I might, at my next check-in, incorporate some more lip gloss or lip balm products because I feel like, especially going into winter, I can use quite a lot of them and I don't always want to use something that is that bright. Of course, you can sheer it down to something like this, but it's still, like that's still color, isn't it? And I would even consider trying this on my cheeks because it's a pretty color, but it is quite sticky, so I wouldn't like the feel of it. Okay, one thing that is gone, but I didn't technically use it up, is one of my Hourglass Confession Ultra Slim lipsticks. This is in the shade If Only. It was actually the nude that I liked the least because it was the most pink. This I was applying one day and the little nubbin fell out as I was applying it. Now I didn't get any photos of what I was up to. It was quite well worn because I actually used this one a lot more than some of the other ones. But that one did die a sad death on my bathroom floor. It was probably a month ago now. So that one is goodbye. While we're there, I might as well give you an update on the other lipsticks because I do have a few of these still going in my project. So I introduced 4 at once, which is quite a lot. The dark berry one, which I'll have a photo of it on the screen so you can see what it was up to last month. I have misplaced that. Now, to be fair, it is the hardest thing to find. So if I was to take this off, and it's pretty much like this with a lid. So this can be lost in a brush drawer, in a makeup bag. I have searched 4 handbags, 2 makeup bags, a backpack, my drawers. I've searched everything. This could have fallen in the crack of my desk. It could have been anything. It's this small and it's black. So I am still hoping that I will find it and reincorporate it into this project, but I just have not been able to find it. And I think I've only used it maybe twice in the past couple of months, and I think part of that reason is because I don't know where it is, and I just don't see it. It's so much easier to find these in your handbag or your makeup bag, so I keep using these. Now I have had good progress with these. So You Are My is one that is more of a sort of cool tone nude. It's a little bit darker. I've been wearing this a lot because of the cooler weather. It works really nicely with coats and jackets and whatnot. And then I also have used quite a lot of I Woke Up. So one lives in my handbag, which is this one. As you can see, there's nothing left. And the other one lives in my sort of getting ready makeup bag, and I sort of just alternate them. Like one is a little bit more peachy and light on me, so it looks more like I can put it on a little bit more liberally. The other one I sort of block down sometimes because it can look like a bit of a bold lip, and it just depends on the vibe I'm going for. So these I'm doing really well with, but I am hoping that I find the berry one because we're starting to get into the weather where the berry one would suit a lot, and I just don't know where it is. I do also have, look, I don't think I'm going to finish those in the next month. I think it will take me at least a good month to finish all those little nubbins because they are quite pigmented, and I've got also the lip balm that I'm incorporating in, but there is a backup lipstick that I know that I want to incorporate next. So if I start, I don't know if I incorporate this, I don't know if I introduce this now, but it's here, and it's by Lorac, and this is a super old lipstick, but it is lovely. It's the highly pigmented satin lipstick in Cat Lady. I love the color of this. It is the most perfect sort of cool toned nude for me. It's sort of like My Lips but better, and there's really not much left. It has actually changed consistency. So if you're going by the theory of makeup should be thrown out when the texture, the smell, or the color changes, I would probably say that this one should be thrown out because the texture is starting to get a little bit stickier. But I love the color so much. I feel like I could definitely pan it. So what I might actually add this in at this point, and then just see how I go. All right, the rest of the products I'll give you updates on in order of how I apply them. I have sort of turned off my primer a little bit. So this is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. Now I have used a lot, like it's actually sort of hit pan in there. I think I was weighing this, so I'll have a weight update on the screen. But essentially I think I am sort of just mentally reserving this for winter because I know that in winter I really need a lot more hydration. Whereas at the moment, I think, especially with the sunscreen I've been wearing, I feel like I'm a little bit slippery when I'm about to do my makeup. So I really don't feel like putting another layer of moisturizer on, which is essentially what this is. So this one has sort of taken a bit of a backseat. It's been used, but just not heavily. We've done foundations, we've done concealer. Let's talk about powder. So I've got two Laura Mercier powders that I introduced last check-in. One is the glowing version and one is just the setting version. Now what I did, because this is essentially like a full face of highlighter, which is too much, and it's also very golden. And then this one is a little bit sort of flat and matte and dry looking on me. I mix them. So in this little e.l.f. tin, I mix them. The ratio that I sort of try to mix for it to be like a setting powder that has a slight glow to it, but nothing too crazy, is sort of like 2 parts to 1. And I find that that's a good ratio, which means I'm obviously going to use up this one a lot faster. But I have actually, I sort of semi-filled this up and then I used it up and refilled it. So I'm not going to weigh this product at the moment. I'm just going to keep using it, but I will put weights on the screen of these. So how much I've taken out since depotting it, and that would give us an indication of roughly how long it's going to take me to go. But you know, I think this is a long haul. Like, these are huge products. I've got 29 grams in each, and one of them essentially, like I said, is a really finely milled highlighter. So that one might even be sticking around until next year, but it doesn't bother me. I'm struggling with this Kevyn Aucoin Neo highlighter. So this is in the shade Sahara. It was actually an ombre highlighter. If you've been along the journey with me, you'll know that I used it a lot, and then I hit pan, and then the pan was crumbling. So I repressed it. This is it repressed. It did have hard pan, but that's gone now, which is great. I'm just finding that as I get into the cooler months, bronzer doesn't really suit me. I end up looking like it's just doesn't work. I much prefer a bit of a flush of blush. So this one I haven't been using much. I will have a comparison on the screen of where I was up to last check-in, because I feel like there's been some usage, but it's definitely taken a back seat. I still like the product, and it's just a really pretty soft bronzer. I have, what is that, lip balm all over my hand, so it's hard to show. It's still very nice. I can still use it. I just might have to find a different way to use it, like whether I use it on my chest, whether I sort of dust over my entire face, because that could just be like an illuminating, slightly bronzy kind of thing. So I've got to figure out a better way to use it, but lately I've been shying away from it, is the point of what I'm saying. When it comes to blush, I have been using my MAC blush quite a lot. So this is the Glow Play blush in That's Peachy. I did use up the L'Oreal Peach blush. I don't know if I used it up last check-in, but that has completely gone. I've been using this one. So this is more of a putty texture. Now, the problem with a putty texture is that it moves a lot. It's a beautiful color. I'm not actually wearing it on my cheeks today, but I have been using it quite a lot. The problem with a putty is that it moves around the pan. So I didn't actually weigh this. I think I was just relying on photos. And I have actually hit pan on this. And then what I did was I scraped off the product from the side and just pushed it back into the center, and I no longer hit pan on it. So it's one of those moving products that makes it very hard to see your progress, which is why I probably should have weighed it, to be fair. But I am using this most days, so that's good. We're getting use out of it. It's a very pretty blush. Highlighter, look, this is my Nabla highlighter. It's beautiful. It's the Skin Glaze in Ozone. I love it. I am wearing it today, so that's what I'm wearing today. It's gorgeous. It's such a beautiful highlighter. I will have comparison photos on the screen. I have not been using this too much lately, simply because that putty blush has a bit of shimmer in it. So if I use them both, it looks a little bit over the top, unless I'm going out in the evening, which never happens because I have 2 young kids. So this I'm mainly wanting to wear today as the feature thing, and I've actually applied it over an eyeshadow, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, I feel like going sort of heavy-handed with this works better with a matte blush. So I've got to decide next month, do I want to incorporate another blush as well, so I can have a matte and sort of like a shimmery putty version. I've just got to decide, but I have not decided yet. All right, on to eyes. Now, I did use up my NARS. I had the eyeshadow primer that I depotted into that little pot. I actually did use that up. It was starting to dry out, but I used it up. I made a point of like really getting it done. So that's gone now. I think it's in my, I don't know if I threw it out. I don't even know where it is, but I don't care. What I've now shifted to is my Sigma, and I did introduce this last check-in, my Sigma eyeshadow base primer in Bubbly. Now this, I quite like it works on it by itself. It also works nice as a base. It is quite frosty, so you have to be in the mood for it. Today I'm not, so I'm not wearing it, but I have this much left. So I don't remember what it was up to. I'll have comparison photos on the screen, but I have been using it quite a bit. Again, not every day, but it is quite soft and it does deposit quite a lot of product. So it's been going fairly quickly. So that one should be done soon enough, and then I can, I don't know, rethink my primer life. The NARS eyeshadow duo, I think this is another reason I really want to do this check-in today, is I really want to repress this, and it's getting hard to use. So I'll have comparisons on the screen because I know you can't really see it super well right now, so I'll have a zoomed in comparison. But I've got two eyeshadows here, one shimmery one, which is what I'm wearing all over the lid with no primer, no nothing else. I've just put it on with my finger, blended it out. Now, normally I can pick this up very easily with a brush, but because there is so much pan there, it's actually quite hard to gather the bits from the side unless you're sort of scraping at it. So I really need to repress that, and I want to do that today. This one I'm not using as much, but I'm using it as a blush today. So I decided to get my sort of fluffy brush and just sweep it on like a caramel blush. I really like it. I actually think I like it more as a blush than I do it as an eyeshadow. So I think what I'm gonna do for now is keep this as my sort of colorful shimmery blush, and then when I want to go quite heavy-handed with the highlight and look a little bit more glowy but not sort of too full on with the cheeks, I'm just going to use this as a blush like I've done today. It's almost like a contouring blush. It's very pretty and it really suits the weather, so it doesn't look like it's out of place. It doesn't look like it's too much. It doesn't look like I've got like ridiculously bronzy face with a white body. So yeah, that's how I've sort of started using these. All right, onto my eyeliner. So I'm still going with the Huda Beauty Life Liner in Very Vanta. Now this is the one that's got the pencil on one end and the liquid liner on the other end. The liquid liner has pretty much dried up and it's very thick and gluggy. So to me, that's done. Now I'm just focusing on this end. It has not much to go. Look how little that is. But it's black liner and I don't use it every day, and I didn't manage to use it up in time for this check-in, but I feel like it is going to be done by next check-in, which may also mean I should probably introduce another eyeliner. And that eyeliner is going to be my Rimmel Scandaleyes Kohl Kajal eyeliner in the shade brown. Now I've used up multiples of these because I really do like it. It's a nice creamy eyeliner. It's got a nice amount of shimmer. It's not too sparkly. Just like, I just like it. I really like it on the waterline, so I'm wearing it today. I just feel like it sort of shapes my eyes a little bit better, but it's quite creamy, but it does last fairly well. Like, it's not completely budge proof. Like, it won't last in your waterline all day, like all along. I find where you sort of got the watery bits, it might rub off a little bit, but I do really like using it for like waterlining and tight lining, for just, it sort of helps just make your lashes look a little bit more full. So I've used many of these. They're really affordable. They're really great, but this one's getting old and I know it's something I can use most days. So I'm going to incorporate this into the project at this point, but I'm going to focus on the black one first. So I'm going to try to get the black one done and then shift over to that one. All right, onto eyebrows. And again, this was annoying because I was so close to using up my e.l.f. Ultra Precise brow pencil. So again, this one doesn't have much left at all. Little nubbin there, that's it fully wound out. But I just didn't want to wait another week or something to use that up. This is also a bit of an annoying product because I tend to keep all my Project Pan products in this makeup bag, and what I tend to do is just take this with me wherever I'm doing my makeup for the day. And this is a product that gets lost down the bottom. So this one could have been done if it wasn't so small and hard to find. Like, for example, today I would have worn it, but I was rummaging and I couldn't find it. So instead I used my brow powder from Benefit. This is the Foolproof brow powder. And again, this is in my Project Pan, so it's totally fine. There is very little what looks like usage with it because I use the smallest amount. And it is a fairly, oh look, the very tip is started to crack a bit. That's not from usage, that's just from being thrown around in my bag. So I don't know if you can see much progress in the photos, but yeah, I have been using it when I can. I also have the 24-hour brow setter by Benefit. So sometimes if I use the powder and I want to go out and about and I don't want my brows to move, I will use this as well. So do one of these ones. What I do really like about this is not only does it work, so it actually holds your brows in place, but it's got the combs on two sides and then a flat sort of like spatula side. And I actually really like that because sometimes when I've done my brows and I've done my little like micro hairs and whatnot, I actually don't want to brush that through. I sort of just want to seal it in, and that's where I get the spatula side. This is really hard to do with the viewfinder. And I just sort of like smear that on like that, so it sort of holds it in place without having to like brush away the minute work that I've done. So There's that. Another thing I forgot to mention actually is my L'Oreal Telescopic Lift Ultra Black. This is the mascara I'm currently using. Now this one, when I first started using it, I liked the effect when you had scraped off a lot of the product because the brush held so much product. But now I'm at a really good place where I find that that's not the case. Of course, I just swirled the brush around in the tube right now, just while I was sitting here, and it picked up a lot of product. But yeah, after a few weeks of using this consistently, I find that the brush is a lot less loaded and it's a lot easier to use. And I'm wearing it today. I really like it. Anyway, so yeah, I had weights of this as well. So hopefully I've made some progress in the last 2 months because I have been wearing it pretty much like 5 days a week, if not more. So there we go. All right, so that's it for my check-in for May. This has been progress since the start of March. If you did want to check that last video out, I'll have it in the description box, as well as the names of all these products. And let me know how you're going if you're doing a project pan. How are you finding this sort of getting into the middle of the year? Are you sort of seeing some good progress? Are you struggling a little bit? What products do you like panning the most? What do you least like panning? And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.